YouTube? It's me, Riz Ill, back on the channel with another reaction, and we're gonna get straight to it. Today we're gonna be reacting to the Cut channel. Do you use the N-word? Africans versus African Americans. Africans and African Americans. Truth or drink? Cut. We're gonna see what topics of conversation they come up with, and I'm gonna give my opinions and comments as usual.
What does the N-word mean to you?
I hate that word, but have I used it with the A sound before? Yeah, with my close friends.
I don't like I don't like when Africans say it.
I'm sorry, what?
Hi.
What's up?
Hi. I'm Taisida.
I'm Abdul. I'm Khalif.
I'm Jordan.
We're doing Africans versus African Americans, Truth or Drink.
It's not really versus, but
Well,
it's
I don't know.
just...
And
Black girl, African gentleman.
I'm hella African.
I'm black. Hey.
First generation, both my parents were born and raised in Nigeria. My tribe is Igbo, and I stand on that.
Period.
Yeah. They're the best
Well,
tribe.
my tribe is Compton, and I stand on that.
You want to start with the shot?
yeah, sure.
I like Hennessy.
How you gonna take my shot glass?
I was pouring you a shot. You know I'm a gentleman.
to being black.
To be black, there you go.
Who do you... okay. Why did I get started off spicy? Who do you think gets laid more, Africans or African Americans?
Africans, to be honest, because snow bunnies are there, so therefore they want a taste of everything, right?
Yeah, like
So-
cultural sampling, yeah.
What is a snow bunny?
Yeah, you got to clarify that one.
A white girl that likes African Americans or Africans or just
Black
black people in
people.
general.
I mean, honestly, I feel as though Africans have the gift of gab. I feel like they really want it, they're gonna get it. So I would say Africans get laid more. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes, I actually would agree. No, I live in an apartment that is predominantly Africans and African Americans, and most of the African people I see walking around has a lot of kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got here somehow.
Okay, as far as the gift of gab goes, I've had this conversation with my friend, relating to like how we talk and how we flirt, and I've said this to him where I was like, do our people know? He's from South Africa, I'm from Kenya. Do our people know how we sound when we flirt using English and we try to like mac using English? Because I don't know whether it's less South Africa or whatever, because yeah, but in like especially in Kenya over here, like English isn't that much. It isn't that much stress like to know English, so people don't really know how to speak English. So, or not people. Okay, yeah, people like in general, like a lot of them maybe don't know how to speak English that well. They speak English like here and there, and the way they flirt, like sometimes when I see them text or when I see them like just talk and like flirt with English. It sounds cringy, dog. It sounds cringe. As opposed to like when niggas is flirting like using our vernacular, our like traditional languages, our home language, Then it's cool because we know our way around that shit like the back of our hands. But in terms of English, bro, when people don't know how to speak English that well, it's tough, dog, because they mix up a lot of shit, bro. It sounds funny. And as far as like Africans like getting a lot of women, like white women, yeah, I've seen that. Like white women, especially over here, they come over here a lot. And like you'll always see some older white woman with some young, big, muscular African man. So, and shit, man. In terms of now I'm really trying to like round up everything they said over there. In terms of like us just being able to like it's apparent that we all like we have sex more because we have more kids. I think it's less of the fact that we have more kids. Who's commenting on my video? Less of the fact that we have more kids is the reason why we have more sex, and it's more of the fact that it's about to get controversial. We don't kill our kids as much, bro. Like I saw like someone like Candace Owens saying that the biggest killer of like African Americans is like what abortions and stuff. I don't know. But abortions is pretty much like a big thing. I don't know, in the West. I've seen like there's always this debate: should we do it? Should we not do it? Whereas in Africa, it's not that big of a deal. It's not even a topic of discussion or like a big like conversation to have. We worried about other things, and so like most of our families, a lot of them are big. You know, a lot of them are just because people ain't really having abortions. People are just having babies even through poverty, dog, and they'll have like big families. So we just don't kill our kids, bro. Sorry to put it that way.
So there might be a lot of different types of American women who might judge African men and would not want to sleep with them.
Yeah, I would say probably black men.
Black men?
They be out here.
Yeah.
I feel like African men be presenting as more got it together too. You know what I'm saying?
The Nigerians,
Like,
especially.
yeah, shoulders up. You feel me?
Yeah.
Chin up. Like they walk around with confidence.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the term African American?
It just feels a little confusing simply because, to me, the African American culture and the African culture does not have camaraderie like I feel like we should. And I always feel like I don't really identify with African American because that part of the African side don't really embrace me. So I'll be like, I'm black. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll embrace you. You're cool people.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold you. I don't like when some people say it.
When like the super allies say it.
Yeah. African Americans? It's like, oh.
For like black people in America, like we are as American as it gets because we've been here for better or for worse since the creation of the country. Versus like when you say like African Americans, it kind of denotes like a generation ago, this generation, 2 generations ago, they're from a different country. But it's like, no, we've been here longer than like half the white people have been here.
Take a shot if you have ever used the term African booty scratcher.
Absolutely not. I was called that.
I've been called that on Instagram. I reported that guy immediately. And that's the thing about social media, these social media platforms. When you report something that's like offensive or you can clearly see someone is trying to do something very abrasive and offensive to get like a reaction out of someone or whatever. Like Instagram like will send you a message or something and then they'll say, we haven't seen any thing that's offensive with what's been said or done over here. But when the littlest thing happens, Instagram and YouTube and all, they all over it like it's such a big deal. Like, these platforms are full of shit in that regard, bro. But then again, it's like millions of people on your platforms. It's hard to keep track, right? So you probably have like an automated robot like reviewing this shit, right?
Like African booty scratcher. People used to call me Midnight.
I got called Midnight too.
Oh, Darth Vader.
Yeah, me too. And I love Star Wars.
No.
You don't like
I
Star
would never
Wars?
watch it because of that.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader.
Okay, so
Wait, what's
Darth
his name?
Vader. His name is Darth, Darth, but people would call me Dark
I'm
Vader.
sure black people does not know his name is D.A.
Black people not knowing that shit is crazy because like I'm a big Star Wars fan. Darth Vader is actually voiced by a black man, so that's crazy. And as you can see from my skin color and everything, and like how this, like it's the nighttime and even the light, it's not helping the situation, is it? Yeah, I used to get made fun a lot. It just made me stronger, bro. It's not that. That's why I can laugh at this shit. You know, I can laugh at this shit, and even when like other racial stuff happens to me nowadays, I mostly laugh at it and then I just destroy the enemy. Because what I realized about a lot of these things is they go for the easiest thing that's honestly misinformation pertaining to like our color, like in terms of like people say our color is not that attractive or is ugly or is like distasteful or whatever it is. Like people always go after that when they're trying to offend you or to insult you or to degrade you as like a black person. And I've just, since I was a kid, always had the mindset of like, if they hate me for this, I'm going to go towards being what they hate me for. So every time, like, especially like I grew up in the Indian community, they like sometimes I used to get like experiences where people would pick on my skin or whatever. Even my mom, sometimes she'd like say like maybe I'm too dark or whatever, I need to use, you know, one of those creams. I just go to it because I feel like attacked. So the more they picked on me thinking they making like they hurting me, the more I ran towards being black. And shit, maybe that mindset helped me in the long run because now I eat those things like bullets, bro, and I fire back. So it's not that big of a deal to me, bro. I feel like those people are unimaginative, like they uncreative because they always come with that shit and then they run out of steam and then I just fuck them up with creativity. I pick on everything.
RTA.
They knew enough to call me that.
They call me DARK, Dark Vader.
Oh, maybe it was a combination of both. I know they called me that, though. I knew what they were saying.
It was a play on words.
Yeah, probably.
I just think black people didn't know, to be honest.
No, the black people, I mean, I don't know. My elementary school, they knew.
I think they knew.
They knew.
I don't think they knew.
Uh-oh.
What does the N-word mean to you? Do you think you take offense to it as much as African Americans do?
Depending on the context, I've seen people consciously not say it around people that they view threatening, or like, oh, that's a real black person, versus like, oh, Abdul, he's fucking the
They think
engineer
you're like
Abdul.
unharming, they
Yeah,
think you're cool.
I'll sing along with this song, and I'm like, oh, Abdul said it was cool with me. That shit pisses me off. Yeah.
I hate that word, but have I used it with the A sound before? Yeah, with my close friends.
Can I? I don't like. I don't like when Africans say it.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't like when Africans say the N-word.
With the, just any type of way?
We're different. I do hear you and understand you, right? Every African, I promise you, every African that says the N-word, I tell them, do your parents say it? And they all be like, hell no. And I'm like, so why do you? My parents say it, my grandparents say it, and their grandparents say it. No African parents, grandparents, and
Yeah, I would say mine would
what I'm
never.
saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta work hard to get rid of it. It's like y'all picking it up because it sounds fun.
I'm glad that you shared that with.
Before she responds, I'd just like to say, yeah, I acknowledge it's true. I'm speaking as an African. It's true that none of our parents really say that shit or even know that shit. And even my mom, like, I think my dad knew. My dad was like a tech savvy person. He knew all of this stuff. But my mom, she's very traditional, very African. So she probably doesn't even know that word exists. But, like, yeah, they don't say it. But if I may speak on my behalf, I've never seen that word as like something where I'm just picking it up because I saw it as something like endearing, like, yo, that's my bro, that's my nigga, like, bro, nigga, dude. That's like, it was in the same thing in terms of like how I used to, like, I saw black Americans using it and then I used it in the same way. I never meant it like that. But I have experienced, even as an African, like, white people or other people from other races using that stuff, especially on social media, like those names in a derogatory way, and they try to use it to get at you. It's very obvious they're trying to get a rise out of you or whatever. It's like a game to them. And then those same people will be complaining and wonder why people are still pointing fingers at them and saying, you white person, you did this and that. You know, it sets people back a bit. It sets people back a bit in terms of how people play with this thing. You know, but no, it's not that big of a deal to us in Africa. I think personally in South Africa, we had the word kafir, and kafir was used as a derogatory term. It's still used sometimes as a derogatory term for black people. And in South Africa, like kafir, as soon as like black people came into power or whatever, they didn't do what the black Americans did, which I don't know whether the black Americans are institutionalized by white America to always think they're niggas or whatever, and then just keep it within their culture and within themselves and always call themselves that and then turn it into this cultural thing. But like black people all around Africa, like whatever we were called, as soon as we took back our countries and became the face of our countries again, we never turned like whatever white people or whatever other races called us into like a thing like black Americans did. Like, so it's almost confusing because like we just following what like y'all are doing because we were called shit too. We were not called nigger, but we were called as okay, I don't know the other. I've heard there's other terms, but I personally know kafir. I've been called kafir, and like we never took that shit and just ran with it, but y'all did, you know. So and y'all put a twist to it that's positive. So we just join in camaraderie and join in like a rapport and solidarity, you know. But we know when shit is offensive, and if you want us to stop using it, then I think y'all will have to stop using it because we got rid of everything the white man or whatever were calling us. We don't allow that shit. we fight immediately. We don't just fight and then go and call ourselves like the same word and be like, la di da. I'm sorry to say. We just get rid of that shit, period, and we fuck up anyone who uses it or does anything of that nature. So it's a toss up. It's a toss up for real.
Because I never heard someone have an issue with African people saying that word.
Ooh, I think you should get your shot ready at this show.
Talk your shit, twin.
Name 10 African countries in 30 seconds or take a shot.
Ooh, 30 seconds? You're rude.
You got 30 seconds to try.
That's not a lot of time, actually, for someone who's had tequila. But I don't know the difference of...
Let me name 10 states. Let me try. Texas, Washington. New York is a state, right? New York, California, Florida, Illinois, Michigan, Nebraska. Or is Nebraska like a state? No, it's a state. Like Colorado, Hawaii. I love America, man. I hope to live there maybe one day or a short while or whatever,
I don't know the difference of countries and cities.
We'll find out.
Morocco, Cote d'Ivoire.
Is Zimbabwe one?
Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria.
Niger, Chad.
Somalian, Nigeria.
Kenya, Gambia, Somalia.
Halfway there.
No, it was 10 or 5.
It's 10.
Damn, you're crazy.
What about that guy?
Nigeria.
West Africa.
That's a region.
It's okay. Go ahead, take the shot. It's fine.
Zimbabwe. Why am I blanking?
Sinhalese. Is that a country? Is it a city?
We're close. I'll accept. I know what you meant.
Madagascar, South Africa, Equatorial Guinea, and Mali. Oh, damn.
I don't get why they struggle. I don't get why they struggle. I'm sorry, but like I've always seen like this like wave of like part of like African American culture is this thing where they emphasize they need to get back to their roots and study like where their ancestors come from, their homeland, and to get in touch with like being the original black man and stuff. And like when they don't know like something as basic as this, because like there's countries out there where I can name a lot of stuff about them and I can say a lot of stuff about them and I'm not even trying, I'm just learning. And the fact that like they don't really care about that stuff, from what I'm seeing, I'm not just coming up with this stuff, it's quite interesting. And I don't think it's a slight on them. I think it's more of a thing with America. America is very like self-centered. It's like the world goes this way and America just like we're gonna do our own thing and it's been working so far, so there we go. It's admirable, but sometimes you'd be looking at them like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
See?
Senegal.
Not Senegalese. I was thinking of my twins.
Lord Jesus.
Who do you think white people dislike more?
Honestly, I still don't think they really know the difference.
In a professional setting, I hear a lot about white folks really preferring to work with Africans because we really are a lot more submissive in a way.
I think they hate black people more than African people.
They hate the descendants of slaves.
The model minority myth exists heavily in the African community to where like they've been brainwashed to think that black is bad, everything else is good. They're the good.
There is a sense of truth in that. I'm sorry I had to stop it again. There is a sense of truth in that. But I don't think it's sorry to come in defense of the white man or whatever, but I personally think that white people just like black people who they don't have to be awkward with due to the murky past that's like been so publicized in our current time that they have with people of color. So when they get to a certain people of color and those people of color are less like white devil, then they like I have an example of like a European who was recently, I don't know if I told the story, he was in South Africa, right? And he said he doesn't like being in South Africa because it's he felt like he was being targeted or being spat on or shamed for being white. You know, he was being shamed for his whiteness. He was looked at with mistrust or maybe a sense of like racism and whatever. And he didn't get the racial tensions of South Africa and like sometimes how things can be and like the past that they're still sorting through and all of that. And like South Africa is almost like the African version of the USA in terms of certain issues. And honestly, when you come up to like some of these other countries in like in Africa, it's less and less because people are less educated on like what's happened like racially. They've been more inclined to forget, and every time like a white person shows up, they don't remember or they don't know any they don't like immediately remember or know any history that they've had with white people that has been bad. All they see is like this white person showing up with a whole lot of money, ready to spend and ready to invest in this and that they just see like opportunity when they see a white person. So they're less likely to like look at a white person in mistrust or snap at a white person, and that's what white people are like, because out of like wherever they go in the world and whatever experiences they have in pertaining to like race, when they come to like African countries, like even my country, they don't really have to deal with that shit, and they love it. They love just easily getting to know people without having to be reminded, hey, you know, your ancestors, like they did some evil shit and all. So it's less submissiveness and more like ease. Like a lot of them, like you even see in comment sections and like forums, they it's like they're tired of being like painted as like the white devil, you know. So I think that's just it, bro. Some black people are more like maybe uneducated or more chilled about it, whereas other black people, because of like fresh wounds, they're like, you know, especially, hey, bro, let me speak about South Africa because that's where I've grown up. They're really like, man, these white people gotta go, get out, bro. We don't want like anything to do with you. Not everyone, but that shit comes up in some conversations and some like areas, you know.
Once there, this is what you should be as a minority. Go to school, be polite, all the respectability politics.
Everybody black, it doesn't matter. Anybody who's perceived as black, they just see us as black people in threat. And the more chocolate you are, the more issues you're gonna have. Honestly, yeah. I don't think they can. Really? Mm-mm. Okay, do tell.
I feel like if me and another dude is standing side by side, and we get approached by the police, I think that if he has an accent, it's gonna make him less dangerous.
The police?
Yes.
Maybe I missed the question. I just thought you.
Oh, you're right. Well, white people. I think of all white people as police. Period. They all okay. You know, white people police black people for no reason.
Take a shot if you've ever said Wakanda forever.
Have I? I definitely have at some point, but like not like at some point. Yes.
I might take a shot with you.
To Chadwick Boseman.
When the first movie came out, I took a girl to go see it.
Yeah.
She's African American.
Yeah.
She legit asked me after the movie.
Oh no.
She said, "Are you from Wakanda?" It's like.
Okay. I've never asked that. I gotta say.
Like, are you serious right now? Like.
In what ways are Africans misunderstood?
I think we're misunderstood maybe kind of on the topic of like my home country, right? In Ethiopia and having war in Tigray. When I told my coworker there's war that just started, he was like, oh, but doesn't that happen all the time? That was his response. Someone I respected and I enjoyed working with him brushed it off.
I'm fully convinced that like some white people I've met still think
that happens. That's happened to me in like the Indian community. Back in South Africa, like when there was bombings and like terrorist attacks in Kenya and other East African countries between like Kenya, Somalia, and all, like some people or some kids were telling me, Seth, your country's at war, because South Africa for the most part is stable. Yeah, there's a lot of shit that happens, but for the most part, they're probably one of the most stable, or if not the most stable country in Africa. One of the, if not the, obviously, compared to other countries where they have these different like tribal disputes, this different like political like wars and like affiliations and all this type of shit. So they pretty much expect that shit from like everyone up north or something, and that's just not true, you know. Kenya's actually honestly more peaceful than South Africa, and they were telling me that, hey, said there's a war in your country, which is crazy. Yo, bro.
Like most of Africa is just like dirt huts.
Yeah, like living in huts, not having water, not really having food.
There's 54 different countries in Africa. It is unfair to just lump all of Africa into one, to like, oh, you said you're from Africa? I have a friend from Nigeria.
Like, people aren't interested in the difference.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
How was that?
Good.
Emotional at the end.
I know.
I don't like that.
I feel all warm and fuzzy.
There were some things we agreed to disagree on, you know, but finding that common ground, and we both were called African booty scratchers. That was deep, you know?
And Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And we're both chocolate.
Pause. You said African booty scratches and said that was deep. Pause.
Boots.
The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
The darker the flesh and the deeper the roots.
Hey.
Yeah.
LMAO, if you see the ting on the hoe over there, I can't believe that you right in the square. Fuck my life, man, the booty is rare. Tell that bitch come fuck with the goat. LMFAO, you won't believe what she wrote. Give me something better than a galaxy, no. We ain't even in the same galaxy, ho. Whoa.